Mafia, are you ready?
He said, are you ready?
This is Brotherly Love Wrestling Podcast, your first stop for everything professional wrestling. So sit back and enjoy wrestling talk at its finest with your hosts, Larry Hall and Joe Corrado.
Welcome everybody to Brotherly Love Wrestling. I am your host Larry Hall with my co-host Joe Corrado, and today on our show we have a guest, and that
Spoiler alert!
Yes, there is a spoiler alert because the spoiler joins us today. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, you guys. I really appreciate you having me on tonight, and get into some stuff.
Not a problem at all. We appreciate you coming on. And lately we've been talking a lot about Camp Leapfrog and how Camp Leapfrog came about and kind of helped highlight the wrestlers of the area, former Shakara, and it kind of gave them a home and got their name out there. And now they're on independent wrestling TV. And seems like the people that are wrestling at Camp Leapfrog are starting to get new opportunities and more opportunities in other places. And we've been having a lot of the wrestlers on. So we're trickling down. We got another Camp Leapfrogger in the house. So how has your experience been at camp?
I love camp. Like you said, it's kind of like a continuation of Chikara, and I just get to see the guys and girls and everyone who I came up with, and I see them we all train at the Worldwide Dojo together. So I'm so happy to we all got to kind of stick together, because that was the saddest thing about that closing down was the prospect of everybody kind of splitting up. But Chris and Sam, they got together and kind of kept all those people together.
So what would you say your favorite aspect of doing a Camp Leapfrog is?
Yeah, I love Camp Leapfrog. To me, it has everything. It has that Chikara feel. But then we also expand out to other audiences. I feel like it has something for everyone. And every time we go there, creatively, you can just, whatever comes to mind. And it's a really great place to be. You get Chris and Sam, the real supportive. And it's just a great atmosphere. I love everyone who comes through.
And continuing to speak about Leapfrog, you were in a match, which I was really excited for when it was announced. And it was you versus Abs in a coal miner's glove match back, was it two? Yeah, I think two Leapfrogs ago. How was it you said that before we started, you said you were a fan since 96, 97, you got into wrestling. How was it to be able to do a gimmick match like that, which was made famous by Halloween Havoc back with WCW, to be able to do this in Camp Leapfrog?
It was awesome. Working with Abs is great. To have that kind of old school feel was really special for me. I feel like with the spoiler, it's just a little bit different from what's on the indies today. To throwback and to have that kind of throwback match and do a whole 80s theme. I love 80s music. I was born in 91, but growing up and then just big Def Leppard fan. So I love anything 80s. Just so it was really cool coming, putting together that match, and I hope everybody enjoyed it, because I had a lot of fun doing it.
Now you said you're a throwback. Now how do you take you're a character of the 80s? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying by?
Yeah, I think the original spoiler was big late 70s, early 80s.
So how do you turn that into a quote unquote gimmick that can get over today? Is it just the nostalgia, or do you have to put a spin on what was and make it kind of new?
I've been putting my own goofy spin on it, while trying to keep the original, I guess. I didn't, because I never knew who the spoiler was. This gimmick was kind of just given to me, and creatively I had to run with it. So just trying to watch him in like old wrestling. I want to keep that feel of it, but you know, I kind of do want to like start throwing in some new school stuff. You know, make it my own.
Well, and I think that's the biggest thing about the spoiler is I looked before the show a couple days ago. I started looking up the spoiler just to try and see, and like I'm getting all these stuff from the 70s. I'm like, all right, I know this isn't the spoiler we're talking to, and like, but it's same exact mask, and I'm like, man, I didn't know this was an actual wrestler from the 70s until I started doing research about it. Like, I didn't know it was a thing. I just thought this was your gimmick until I, you know what I mean, looked up on the internet. I'm like, oh, there actually was a spoiler. Like, I had no idea.
I think there was like 2 or 3 doing some research into it. I think I might be 4. Which is, but yeah, when it was given to me, you know, he sent me an email. He was like, I need you to, you know, look up everything you know about the spoiler. Okay, I never heard of him. You know, and then I'm getting into it, and then I found out he trained the Undertaker, and which is really cool for me because like the Undertaker is my favorite wrestler growing up, still is. You know, me and my dad watch him all the, you know, before he retired. So like, kind of feels like full circle a little bit to me. You know, a little special.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And now with your mask, I mean, we said also before we were starting that you're good friends with Max Zero, who just revealed that he won really the match to take his mask off, and now he's going without a mask. So I mean, being friends with him, is there ever in your mind maybe a thought of either coming soon or down the road losing the mask, or is it more something that you hold on to?
You know, I would never say never. You know, that's the thing in wrestling, never say never. I enjoy doing the spoiler right now, and you know, maybe one day I feel like creatively I want to try something different. Maybe I'll try something different. But yeah, it's not out of the realm of possibilities, I think.
So where I'm trying to think how to phrase this. Sometimes I phrase questions wrong. Where do you hope to bring the spoiler? Like what are your, I guess you would call it goals, but like where do you see your character fitting besides Camp Leapfrog?
Yeah, I want to try to take it, you know, worldwide. I definitely want to get into Canada and bring out, you know, get a bigger reach. I think right now, you know, just with the pandemic, it's kind of hard to, you know, get out there. But I definitely want to get out there to places, you know, as much as I can, as everybody else does. But yeah, I would like to, you know, to see the spoiler selfishly see the spoiler on a bunch of cards out there one day.
So how do you get to that point?
Good question. You know, I guess working hard, get my name out, you know, get my name out there, see who wants the little throwback on their card.
Now, is there any certain promotion that you might look at, whether it be a Ring of Honor or Beyond or Limitless or any one of the ones that are out there, big names or little names for that matter, that you are looking at short term?
Short term. I definitely like what Mr. Chainsaw Pro's doing. I like to maybe get up there one day, Michigan. I think that'd be cool.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely Demand Lucha in Toronto. That'd be awesome. And you know, definitely like, you know, Ring of Honor. And I want to do all. You know, I love wrestling. You know, whoever will have me on the card, I'd love to put forth my best effort. Put something out there people really want to watch.
How long have you had this gimmick, and how long have you been wrestling for?
I debuted January 18th of last year in the Young Lions Cup. So about a little over a year now, I've been doing the spoiler.
So you've been doing the spoiler for a little over a year. How long have you been wrestling before that?
I've been training, I think, 2 years before that, full time. So when I made the Young Lions Cup was my first official debut.
So you're still pretty new. I mean, if you're only to call it a couple of years, like how has landing in the pandemic affected your outlook on wrestling?
You know, it hasn't changed my outlook. If anything, it's making me hungrier to get back to normal. So, I've been doing everything I can to be safe and, move us along so we can get the live shows and we can get more shows out there with fans and I can get on the road more. I would love to get on the road more, But it kind of does suck because, my rookie year hits and then 2 months later, world shuts down.
Yeah,
so it was kind of like disheartening a little bit, but then you put everything in perspective and it just makes you want to work harder to finally get there when it does come back around.
I mean, yeah, we've been talking to a lot of people and throughout the pandemic, like when it first started, it was just like, it was kind of glum and there was no real foreseeable future to this opening back up. And then as it started to progress a little bit more last year, when it got warmer out, things were starting to open up. They found outside shows to be readily available and you're able to have more people. And now we kind of hit a lull again and now we're picking back up again in the Mania week. I mean, it seems like it's a whirlwind now and it's hard to predict like where you could be 4 weeks from now or 4 months from now. It's just, it's tough. I mean, it's tough for everybody.
Yeah, especially because Pennsylvania is locking down on things. So, like you said, we might have a leapfrog show planned and then the commission comes down and kind of just shut down for a little bit. So, everybody, you can't like take anything for granted when it does come up, but we're still going to be safe. It's the most important part.
Yeah, I think that from what I'm hearing is that, I mean, usually COVID tests are mandatory if you're going to be wrestling at a lot of different venues. So, I mean, it seems like for the most part, they're taking it seriously. And there are a couple people or a couple promotions that aren't acting safely, mainly down in Florida because they're crazy down there. But I mean, it seems like everyone's following regulations and whatnot. So hopefully things will get more. I don't think normal is going to be normal, like a sense of normal maybe, which is ironic because when you're talking about professional wrestling, that's like the furthest thing from normal to like most people, but just to get back to normal would be nice.
Yeah, especially with leapfrog, Chris and Sam have us take every possible safety measure, testing before and after. So hopefully, with sports opening up and letting people in, hopefully professional wrestling start coming back safely. We can see some fans again soon.
I think the biggest thing I'm intrigued by whatever this new version of normal is what Leapfrog is going to do, like, because they've been doing so many outdoor events that, like, once everything is constantly inside and we're doing indoor, like, what Leapfrog's going to look like. You know what I mean? I think that because they've been so innovative in what they've done as far as their events so far, and coming up this Matt Mikowski's Frog Sport, I mean, I don't think I've been, out of all of them, this is probably the most intrigued I've been over Camp Leapfrog because it's something that as wrestling fans you know of already. You know Bloodsport. You know what it will be. So to see this promotion put it on.
You think you know what it'll be.
Well, you know what the idea is anyway. What they do with it is completely different.
Yeah, I mean, I look at this as like this could be a complete swerve. Like, oh, this is going to be like a MMA style event, but I have a feeling just because Mikowski is MMA, they could go a completely different route from us.
I won't spoil it. You guys gotta tune in and watch.
But that's what you're here for.
Just the one spoiler I'm not allowed to give away.
Here's the thing: we never get spoilers ever.
No.
We have a wrestler on right now called The Spoiler, and we still can't get a fucking spoiler.
No.
We have the shittiest luck when it comes to. We need to find someone not spoiler, or maybe he'll spoil.
I could spoil it, but then I got Matt Mikowski to deal with, and I don't want to deal with Matt Mikowski.
He's on a tear lately, and he's becoming a household name rather quickly.
I mean, everybody's seen that coming a mile away. Matt's such a great dude, hard worker. He deserves it. Every ounce of whatever he gets, he deserves. Great guy.
He's got this style. Like when UFC first came out, and like that was like something cool that came into wrestling. Like when they brought in Ken Shamrock and Blackman and Dan Severn and all them, and then it kind of faded away, where it went a different route, and then it kind of got more acrobatic. McCaskey is like a hybrid of like 6 different types of wrestlers. Like, yeah, he's got the MMA background, but what he does with it is complete. Like he's adapted this wrestling style and made it his own. Like his style is unlike anybody else's that's out there, and I feel very confident in saying that.
Yeah, he's great. Like all the things he comes up with, and his cool ways of getting arm bars, man, it's always amazing. He's like one of those guys I could watch wrestle forever.
That's a true statement. Now, have you ever gotten in the ring with Matt McCaskey?
Not on a live show, but practice matches, and I think I had a match with him in the Crucible as a masked Carbon. So yeah, never on a live show, but I'd love to wrestle Matt one day.
So let's get into that. Let's get into that topic, because that's a fun topic to go through. Like people, like who do you look forward to getting in the ring with, and who do you feel like you'll have the best matches in creatively? Like what style would you want to have the match in?
There's one match I really want to do, and because I haven't seen it done on the Indies. Maybe it has been, but there's a lot of matches. I want to do a buried alive match, and like selfishly, if I could do it, it probably would be with Hollow Wicked. If I could call out a match, I think that would be a great match I could put on with Hollow Wicked. Nice buried alive match.
That would have to be on Halloween, no?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Halloween.
I don't know if I mean, there's so much that happens in the Indies. Like, I don't know everything, but of recently, I don't know if I've seen it. And I'm trying to think of like, I mean, I've seen a lot of crazy shit on the Indies, but I don't know if I've ever seen a buried alive match. Like, I don't know, because that's more of a cinematic style match as it is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think, like, especially with Camp Leapfrog and what we were doing and not having an audience, so we can kind of make it cinematic, I think that'd be something we could do.
Here's the thing: when crowds are allowed back in, I don't know if Leapfrog needs them. I think that they've like really locked into this no crowd show, and because it feels like camp, like you're at a camp and you're just filming at a camp, because there's just the campers there. I mean, when you filter people in, now you got to come up with characters for them. Like, oh, it's the visiting parents from Camp Anawana. But I feel like right now, like I feel like, yes, the revenue would be great, but I don't think that Leapfrog necessarily needs fans to make it successful.
Yeah, like you said, Leapfrog's special, and what we're doing special. It's hats off to Chris and all his planning and hard work, and everybody else involved. Like, we do have that nice feel where there's that open yard and an in-ground pool, and then we switched it up inside, and like we give you different scenes, especially at the sleepover one where we're inside camp and then we came out to wrestle. It is really cool to see something different, especially now when you can't really make that much wrestling with live crowds.
I think that was what hooked me in, was this sleepover Camp Leapfrog, because it was like you could tell that everybody was like just goofing around. I mean, they were taking it serious, but it was like you got to see more inside jokes and stuff like that. Like it felt more like a family wrestling show than anything else. Like you could feel the camaraderie, and like everyone's just trying to be there to help each other out, which is kind of a rarity nowadays.
Yeah, everybody there is so helpful. It's a great team, great atmosphere in the locker room, and it's like you never feel uncomfortable there. You could always ask somebody for help if you need it or anything. And I think that's what I like most about it.
Is there ever? I mean, I know you being so early in your career. How do you feel about tag team wrestling? And if there was one person on the Leapfrog roster, who would be your tag team partner?
I had that tag match with Francis. I like tagging with Francis. I would have a lot of fun tagging with Max. And I have tagged with him before. I think if do a Max and Spoiler tag team, we could come up with some really cool stuff. I love wrestling him and wrestling against him. And we always, like, even in training, like, we always come up with some great stuff. I'd love to put that on a card one day.
So what would that tag team name be?
We were playing around with it. We called ourselves Misters Worldwide.
Misters Worldwide?
Misters Worldwide.
What's the backstory to that?
Big fans of Tipple, I guess.
Okay, so it's not Prestige Worldwide from Step Brothers then.
It's Misters Worldwide.
Okay. All right, so it's a whole nother reference then. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's where my mind first went.
Could be a mix between both, you know?
Yeah. So, and the one thing I did want to ask is because what you said about Max and Matt and stuff like that, is there, aside from obviously Matt Mikowski, who is a breakout, and everyone I've ever heard and talked to said he deserves to be on our television as soon as possible. Is there anyone you look at, because you're training with these people day in, day out, is there someone that is unsung and you can't, no one sees this coming, that you think is going to break out of nowhere and be the next Matt Mikowski, to where people need to see this person that maybe doesn't get the credit that they deserve?
You know, I think he's starting to get the credit he deserves. Pancakes. He's another guy. I tell him all the time. You know, he comes out of the ring and says, "Pancakes, I love watching you wrestle." And he's definitely getting it. He's been on a lot of new shows. I'm seeing him, and him coming up, and I'm so happy for him, because he was supposed to debut during the pandemic last year, and it got pushed back, and now he's finally getting his time to shine, and I'm so happy for him. He was another guy I started day one training with.
I feel like Pancakes is the little brother to everybody that gets kind of like picked on, but if anybody were to ever say anything about Pancakes, there'd be a gang to pile on top of that person.
Oh, yeah, for sure. He's definitely the little brother, everybody. Maybe nobody wanted, but, you know, you're stuck with him. He's a great guy. I love Pancakes. I really do. I do consider him a little brother. But yeah, nobody would ever let that happen, like you said.
He had a great showing in the ladder match at Pizza Party Wrestling last night. I obviously haven't been able to see enough of Pancake's matches because he's so new, but watching him last night, I think out of all the people, he really stood out in that showing, because he was really, really well done.
You know, he's got the drive. Like, I've never seen anybody more passionate about wrestling than Pancakes. It's all, you know, that's all he's talking about. It's all, you know, it's all he's working for, and he works his ass off. He really does. He's the most enthused person I've ever seen about wrestling.
All right, I got a question, because this is one that Larry usually asks, but I'm stealing it from him. So we talk about being a fan of wrestling and working hard at wrestling. Like, being in the wrestling business now and being a wrestler, has it tainted your fandom at all? Are you still as big of a fan as you were, or do you find yourself watching more to study or critique, or do you still find time to enjoy wrestling?
Yeah, that is a really good question, because sometimes I do find myself with the wrestling goggles, where I'm like, oh, I'm kind of just watching it, picking it apart, and then I do talk, you know, think to myself, like, man, sometimes I can't enjoy it no more, because I'm like thinking about it, and yeah, sometimes it is hard to get like back into it, but there was a match I was watching that it took me out of it. Effie and Edith Surreal, that match at Love Frog, I was just totally just zoned into it. That was one of those matches that could take you out of the picking apart and studying it.
That was a match that I did not see going the way that it did. Because that took a turn, and it almost turned into like a blood feud at that point. and it was like the violence turned up, and it was something that I've seen Effie do at GCW before. I've seen him get into the hardcore realm, but I've never seen either Surreal go that route, and it was fun to watch. Like that match stole the show, 100%. And that was the main event for a reason. I do remember watching that, being in awe. I was like, wow, this is completely different than what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I told her after that, in my opinion, that was match of the year.
I was just going to say that.
That's another great thing about Leapfrog, because, she could just take it creatively and go that direction where people were like, oh, you're just doing like the hardcore stuff. She can do that too. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's interesting that the way that things are going right now is that you're seeing people do a lot more. I feel like creatively, since you're not able to wrestle week in and week out or 3 to 4 times a week, and you're in your own head more. You're like, okay, well, what can I do to freshen things up? Because this is how I was before the pandemic. How do I make it so I must see now? And I feel like there's more and more, like, there's names that are popping up that you haven't seen before, but because of the pandemic and because everyone's so hungry to see wrestling again, like the appreciation level is at a higher level than it was pre-pandemic, because the wrestling was getting down. There was a lot more bad talk or critiquing or criticizing. Now I feel like people have each other's backs now, and I feel like post-pandemic is a lot more positive. I mean, maybe not on some scale, like when it comes to bigger wrestling, but I feel like with the indies and whatnot, there's a lot less like crap going on. Like there's more positivity.
Especially like inside the Leapfrog locker room, it's all, everyone wants to see everyone else succeed. There's not that negative force that it's kind of dragging everybody down and holding them back creatively. So everybody can go out there and say, yeah, I'm gonna do this now. Nobody's seen me do this. Let me try it now. And I'm just glad everybody's getting their shot to do what they want.
That is true, though. It is kind of like a what's the term I'm looking for, Larry? Help me, Larry.
I don't know what it. I can't read your mind. I don't know.
That's because we're not in the same room.
I know. Usually we're better at this.
Kind of like almost like I want to say not like a mulligan, but it is kind of like a mulligan. If you're familiar with golf terms, like, okay, I can mess this up. I can kind of like hone my craft now because, I mean, it's like a practice round.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, especially with the tapings, you don't like to do it. You get do it again. I guess that's kind of like fourth wall breaking. Well, spoiler alert. But yeah, I mean, especially with you see it with WWE. They're probably doing 4 or 5 different takes until they feel like they got it perfect.
I feel like they're doing more than that.
Yeah, probably.
I feel like you just kind of like beat the dead horse there. Like, all right, do it again, do it again, do it again. They probably started like 6 and ended 6.
I was watching that Undertaker documentary. He said he was in that boneyard all night.
Yeah.
For like 13 hours. Yeah.
Like that's insane. But you can see that. Like I can see because I don't know if it's Vince or anybody that works for Vince is very particular. And I can say, nope, I don't like that. But that was perfect. Nope, I don't like it. Do it again. It might have been perfect, but let's see if we can get it more perfect there.
Yeah.
Well, and speaking of WWE, and I mean, this is WWE's weekend coming up, and you have a John Cena shirt on. So WrestleMania is coming very quickly. Is there a match that you're looking forward to? Do you think that will steal the show, might be the best match of the weekend? And it doesn't have to be WrestleMania. It could be NXT. It could be maybe a show on the independents that might bust out and be match of the week.
Dude, there's so many matches this week. It's insane.
Mm-hmm.
If we're going to stick to the WrestleMania card, I definitely think Sasha and Bianca Belair, they're going to kill it this weekend. Mm-hmm. I can just feel it. And I think this is I mean, Bianca's been breaking out all year, but like this is gonna be her big moment, I think.
I think so too. I mean, Sasha hit another realm of popularity being on The Mandalorian, so she's at like the superstar level right now when it comes to crossover from Star Wars and wrestling. I mean, that's like almost as big as like, I don't know, we'll air quote it, like nerddom or whatever we call it. Like you hit Star Wars and professional wrestling, like what are you missing for the trifecta there? Like
Comic books, maybe at the most.
No, because that's comic books.
It's true.
Like you'd have to hit like you'd have to be in Harry Potter or something. I feel like you hit the trifecta. But yeah, I mean, I think WWE will low key put on like a fantastic 2 nights. I mean, you have Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, so I mean, that's money right there. And they know how to do it with their big shows. It's those other 6 that they have that they don't need to.
Yeah.
But I mean, the independents are running all week, and then you have AEW, NXT. You have everybody running it. This is like, I said this to Larry before. I don't know if I said it on air or not. I said 12-year-old me would have killed for this much wrestling content when I was that age. Like we had 2, and we were spoiled on one night. We're spoiled freaking 6 to 7 nights a week sometimes.
Yeah, I'm excited for the weekend coming up. I got my Peacock account now. Which I don't like. I know it was a big deal money wise, but because if you have Comcast, you get it for free. So I don't know.
Yep.
How they're gonna make the money off it. That confused me.
I think they already made money off it. I think NBC. What they put in another like probably $2 billion or something to buy.
I'm sure they put that bill in.
Yeah.
I don't think that WWE is hurting for any cash.
I just want to know how NBC is going to make the money back. You know, 'cause I think they're $5 a month, and then anybody who's got Comcast, you get it for free.
I don't know if they're going to start.
I'm sure it's going to make money. They wouldn't have done it if it didn't.
Yeah.
No, they wouldn't just like stick their neck out there, be like, yeah, we can afford it. Why don't we just buy some WWE content? Like, there's got to be like, I mean, with advertising, because now they're running commercials and shit, so they're going to get money from advertising because people are going to want to advertise on. So you're going to have every company shelling out money. So there's probably a year's worth of revenue is probably in the first 3 months of running advertisements.
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll be fine. Safe to say.
So, spoiler, before we let you go, is there anything that you want to promote, whether it's your social media or anything coming up, anything like that?
Is there anything you want to spoil?
Yes, that's it.
I want to spoil. That Godzilla movie came out, huh?
Yeah.
Go ahead, spoil it.
Spoil it. Maybe on my way out, I'll tell you who won. I'm on Twitter at SpoilerPW. I think I'm in the works. Maybe I'll do some merch soon. I haven't gotten to that realm yet. That Leapfrog's coming up, and I'll keep everybody posted on Twitter. To the next spoiler move.
I'm already thinking of a T-shirt design for you. Yeah. I'm thinking your mask or your face on a milk carton, and it'll say the expiration date will be like 6 years ago, and it'll just put spoiled underneath it.
Yeah. I like that.
You've walked into my realm of expertise and my goofy creativeness.
Yeah.
I got goofy creativeness too. Maybe we can collaborate on something too.
I like it, man. You know what? We have come up with things for a couple of different wrestlers, albeit not. We haven't hit the main market yet, but we're trying.
Yeah. So we'll get there one day.
Yeah.
You let us know if the collab is there.
The collab will be there.
So, spoiler, thank you so much for taking the time and talking with us, and we hope that we talk to you soon and we see you hopefully at Frog Sport if not something before.
No spoilers. You gotta tune in.
Yep.
Thank you guys for having me on. I really appreciate having the time to talk to you guys.
Thank you.
Not a problem at all. Thank you.
All right, thank you guys.